MTN SME Hub. Link to growth. Link to success. Link to the ultimate resource for business advice and insights.
Welcome back to the Big Small Business Show. In studio with us right now, we've got Tendai Mujaji. He's a strategy and finance guide at Raizcorp, and we've brought him in to speak about his many years of experience working with entrepreneurs, hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs, where they effectively don't anticipate the hidden costs of growth and forget just even staying stable when you're growing. There is a huge amount of hidden costs that often are the reason why those businesses fail. So, software. Everything's software as a service right now, but there's software for everything. Right now, if the accounting is software, I've just seem to be paying for everything every month, and and the people who come to me it's just one license, but then then there are two people, all this cost of the services that we have, like software.
That is becoming more and more prevalent because of the world we live in, and the evolution of all the systems to automation and to help us automate things has a cost to it. So you've got the license fees, for example. The accounting softwares, many of them require some kind of a monthly retainer or a license fee to enable you to use the software. And then you've obviously got those who are more technologically advanced, which use companies which may use some other software to do their work for technical drawings and that kind of thing. All of those things come into effect, and often that the entrepreneurs just don't anticipate that, and
it adds up quickly.
Yes, it absolutely does, because suddenly you're involved with a client who requires all of these things, and you've already priced the project, yet you've got to then pay the software and for the server to do this and that, and suddenly you're in over your head, and you struggle to then recover the costs of that particular project or the relationship with the particular client.
And then there's the other, talking about services, there's the other services, like if you've got your own offices, right?
Absolutely.
There's the plumbing, the electrician, because, offices also require to be serviced.
Yeah.
So those kinds of things which you don't put in your budget.
Yeah. And you talk about the budget. Absolutely, that's a fundamental mistake many entrepreneurs make, is to not fully anticipate what it's going to cost to run an office. So I mean, my sort of guidance to entrepreneurs before they leapfrog, because often you'll find entrepreneurs working from home in those home setups, and because the bond is being paid for by my husband or my wife, you kind of don't see the cost of rent and that maintenance. Suddenly you're in an office, there's the huge rent bill, there's the office maintenance, the cleaning, all of that, and they just don't anticipate it. So before certainly any entrepreneur makes a bold move to move into an office, understand what the cost of being in that space is.
And of course, there's the likes of a receptionist, and then there is the cleaner, et cetera. And so maybe another thought would be, as a stepping stone, is a flexible workspace, which is probably a step in between. It's still more expensive than home, obviously, and creates the formality, but it's the step in between. And then the other one that you see is marketing, right? And often what you see is that companies that have got a certain amount of traction up front, they get organic traction, and then the organic traction is novel in a while, that people are interested in your story for a while as organic, and then you're forced to now maintain that interest, because you're looking for the leads or the brand awareness, and you have to go into formal marketing. And today the go-to place is social media, and then you have to open up a social media account on TikTok or Facebook or in LinkedIn or whatever the case may be, and then you have to service it with adverts, and then to create those adverts, and then to pay for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Those costs are also, again, I think we live in such an interconnected world that even when a typical customer is looking at a company to take on as a service provider, they then look at the digital footprint. And then obviously having that digital footprint has its cost. Then you've got to have the website that, whether it's e-commerce or not, it still costs to put it up there. And then you want to have the right images and all of that. And all of that costs money. So those are service providers that you need to engage. And all done, of course, at a cost. And I think usually it also sort of evolves as the business grows. So you'll have your first iteration. It's the logo that you did on your app on your own, and then suddenly you've got to get a professional, costs X amount per hour just to get the right imaging, because you're now playing on a different playing field and a different level, and you want to reach the right market. So your imaging has got to be right as well, and that certainly does cost money, and it's often underestimated.
So today we've got about a minute left. So what's the solution to all this? We've spoken about all these hidden costs. You touched on budget, right? So what should I be doing if I want to grow, if I am growing? What should I be doing in a minute or less? That's your exam question.
Let me see if I pass this exam. I think the key things to do is to take a step back and analyze the business where it is right now. Have a good understanding of what's been happening in recent times. And I'd say go back maybe 6 months, have a good understanding of that, because that's going to create the platform for the budget that's coming. And then let's look at least a year into the future. Let's then budget and account for as many of the costs that we can, and try to think comprehensively and really exhaust your mind as to what are the activities that I'm going to be doing, therefore what are the costs that must be associated. And if you can't necessarily identify a cost, assign one, so that at least you account for it, because you'll often find like an owner's salary, like we were mentioning a little bit earlier. You might not have the exact number, but you can assign it so that you can see it and you can account for it, and at least you will understand what the effect of that is on the budget. So absolutely, planning and budgeting are key solutions that we need to probably apply.
You passed your exam, and I hope that was quite insightful for you. And I think that was great insight there from Tendai Mujaji, a finance guide at Raizcorp. Now, if you are growing, do that budget, assign those costs, and be one of the successful ones. And always remember, if you think it, write it down and make it a reality.
The Big Small Business Show, proudly sponsored by MTN Business.